All right. Looks like we are live. Ah, always like to get myself situated, get myself oriented, and by golly, we're going live. Let me just, invite a few people to come and check this out. Well, wait a minute. Let's unmute that. Well, that's weird. Let me just invite these people. Bunch of folks coming in. Yes. There we go. Okay, that'll do. Thomas, Laura, howdy. I think I may have muted. I'm broadcasting also on YouTube here, and I cannot. Oh, the microphone's live. Okay, we're good. We're good, everybody. I just panicked because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Standard stuff. So, you ready to once again get it broken down? You ready? You ready to get it broke off? Because with all of the hype, with all of the posturing, with all of this shameless self-promotion and marketing disguised as help for you, it is easy. Watching from an ER, FYI, you're more interesting than the impeachment hearings. Thomas, Godspeed, my friend. I know you've got some really painful stuff going on, man, and I'm rooting for you. I'm glad that I'm more interesting than the impeachment hearings. I think that's quite a compliment. I'm not sure. Anyway, you're in my thoughts, though, my friend, in all seriousness. For those of you on YouTube, what you can't see is that I'm also simultaneously broadcasting on Facebook. Got the little phone set up right here, so I've got comments and stuff like that. But so with all of the, the self-serving agendas disguised as help and all of the marketing manipulation and all of this stuff that we're subjected to here in the digital landscape, here in the entrepreneurial space, this stuff is right in our face, and it is in the best interest. Hey, Christy Ann, let me give you a little wave there. It's in the best interest of people who have an agenda to sell you things without really adding value to you. It's in their best interest to make you think that things are really complicated, right? And when I say things, I mean your success. I mean your success as you define it. Hopefully, your success as you define it includes really, really robust dollar amounts. And, that's where things kind of get the most tricky, the most slippery, the most manipulative, the most whatever, because folks do love that holy dollar, don't they? They do. I do. I'm a huge fan. I'm crazy about money. But you know what I'm not crazy about? Trying to overcomplicate your problems and challenges in your own mind in order to get your money from you. Look, there's enough complexity as it is without D-bags out there making it seem like it's harder than it is. It's already a challenge, right? But that's as it should be. So in order to create success, and again, I assume that in your case, financial success is part of your success. In order to create success, we must be, Big V, what's up, baby? We must become a better version of ourselves. I mean, that's literally the process. And the better version of ourselves through its choices, actions, thoughts, emotions, et cetera, draws to it higher standards of living, higher standards of self-expression, higher standards of, whatever it is that you seek to create. So it's meant to be a challenge. Hey, Rob. And I want you guys to understand that. It's really important that you understand that achieving success is meant to be challenging, but that's not a bad thing. Okay, so it's not a bad thing that it's meant to be challenging. It's as it should be. It's as it's supposed to be. So we're agreed on that, right? And we're also agreed that that there are a lot of people who it's in their self-serving best interest to make the constituent pieces that, when put together, create your success. It's in their best interest to make those seem more difficult, convoluted, hard to grasp than they are. Here's what I'm learning more and more as I march boldly toward first $100,000 months, which, by the way, I've been saying $100,000 months. I haven't set a time yet. I've set a time for it now. January, February, March. That's my goal. My goal is $100,000 months by March. Sorry about that. I got a phone call coming in. Can you believe the audacity of some people to call while I'm on a live stream? Anyway, so I just want you to know that I'm proclaiming that here and now loudly to the world, holding myself accountable. And in fact, that is one of the steps that creates success. Holding yourself accountable. Boldly making your claims and then holding yourself accountable to their creation. So I tied that in there for you, and you're welcome. But before I get too sort of on my soapbox about how success is supposed to be a challenge, and especially money, I think, for a lot of us, it's supposed to be a challenge, guys. So don't worry about that. But also, don't fall for, hey, Maria, good to see you. Don't fall for the overcomplication that people sell, right? They create more confusion and more distress in your mind so that they can offer you the solution. So the point of all this up till now was that, look, it's got a level of complexity to it. That is as it should be, but that you need to apply critical thinking and be aware that there are many people who it's in their best interest to make it seem more confusing and convoluted and difficult than it is so that they can sell you a solution that frankly may or may not work. Okay, so there's that. Now let's really talk about, at a granular level, what your success requires of you. First, actually, let me talk about it at a high level, 1,000-foot view. What your desire for success requires of you is for you to become in iterative steps. Do you know what that means, iterative steps? It means getting better and better and better stepwise. So in iterative steps, the success that you require and desire, it requires of you getting better. Okay? That's what it's all about, right? You cannot have success separate from becoming a better version of yourself. Isn't that cool when you think about it? You cannot achieve success except through becoming a better version of yourself. Now, which direction your success takes is going to really be determined by what areas of yourself you focus on improving. Does that make sense? So you want to get better physically, like my friend Trevor Foldering. What do? You study health and fitness and muscle building and physical personal training. And what happens as a result of that? Well, if you apply what you've learned, you get more fit. Like my friend Rob Woodell, if you want to gain more success in marketing and brand positioning and things like that, what do? Well, in Rob's case, you spend decades in the corporate world as a high-level marketing and brand positioning guy, and then you move out onto your hang your own shingle, and you take what you've learned and you apply it out in the world. And then you get success there. If you want to have success in whatever, right? The point is you learn it, you embody it. Through the learning and embodying, you become a better version of yourself, and you've achieved that success. Now, for many of us, we don't include the money, which makes me just cuckoo. It makes me insane that we don't do that. And so I want to break down for you. I want to get down to a granular level. Now that I've taken you sky high, I want to take you eye high, right? Sky level, eye level. We've been to sky level just now. Now I want to take you to eye level. The pieces that you're going to need to create the levels of success you want are actually very simple. It's kind of like if you study martial arts for 30 years and you come to realize over that time, so you came into martial arts because you were scared and because you saw all the fancy moves and high kicks and flying whatevers. You come to realize that 90% of what you use on the mat or in the streets is the fundamentals. It's the stuff you learned as a white belt. Now, any martial artist will tell you this is true. The fundamentals, unless they're trying to sell you something, the fundamentals drive 90% of the progress, maybe more. Let me say that again. The fundamentals drive 90% of the progress, maybe more. What I've found is even as new strategies are incorporated and developed and shared with me, execution of those strategies requires what? It requires falling back to the fundamentals, right? So let's talk a little bit about the fundamentals. That's what this has all been about. I want to share with you guys a little bit about the fundamentals of success. So, first fundamental of success. The you that you are now is not capable of the success that you desire. However, the you that you are now, and when I say that, what I mean is the version of you that you are now, is capable of building the next version of you. Habitually, mentally, energetically, emotionally, spiritually, physically, you can build the next best version of you. But you who's sitting here today, Macon, Jewel Hansen, the you today is not the you that you will be a year from now when you achieve bigger and bigger, greater and greater success. Whether you realize it or not, what you will have done in order to achieve whatever goals you've set for yourself is you will have iterated yourself mentally, in terms of your skills, in terms of your focus, your discipline, your worldview, all of these things. So the first thing to understand is that who you are today can only build the version of you that is next. Why is that important to understand? It's important to understand because it goes back to focusing on the fundamentals. Let's talk a little bit about these fundamentals. Discipline. Discipline of thought and action is a fundamental for success. Discipline of thought and action is an absolute fundamental for growing and cultivating higher levels of success. It is not a million new ideas. It is not the next high-level tactic or trick. It is discipline of thought and action. What do I mean by that? What I mean is if your mind is chaotic, if it is cluttered, if it is too busy, let me say this. Chaos loves complexity. Success, on the other hand, loves speed and simplicity. So chaos loves complexity, 2 C's. Success loves speed and simplicity, 3 S's. What I suggest to you, hi Amy, is that you remember the 3 S's greater than 2 C's rule. Success loves simplicity and speed, while chaos loves complexity. Okay? So that's something to think about. How do we apply this right now, today? Start to write goals down. Start to write down goals. I would say, now I've heard different thoughts on this. I would say 1 year is fine. Some people say 3 years. Some people say 5 years. I say 1 year is fine. So start to write down your goals for the year. Hey, Ben. And as you are writing down your goals for the year, you want to push yourself a little bit. You want to be at that precipice where you're going, I don't know if I can do this. Then reverse engineer it, first in quarters, which are 3 months, so 90-day sprints. Then once you get your 90-day sprints, break those down into months and weeks and days. And this is how you do it. This is it. Now that's going to take discipline of action and thought. Do you see how doing that forces you to move into disciplined thought and action? So that's 1. 2, you must control your state. I know this may seem like an esoteric sort of, hard to grasp, pie in the sky kind of abstraction, but you must control your state. Why? Here is one of the truths. Hey, Amir, what's up, brother? One of the truths that you don't hear a lot about. Low emotional state equals low choices, low decisions, and low actions. High emotional state, you get the rest, right? Hey, Joe, high emotional state will equal high level decisions and actions. So our emotional state is directly connected to how we think and feel and act. Well, obviously feel, but think and act, right? The emotions affect the thought process. Why is that? How is that? Well, just a quick snapshot is this. If you are in a low vibration, a low emotional state, your body is producing chemicals that reinforce the state that you're in. So it might be adrenaline. It might be what is it? Oxytocin? No, not it is adrenaline, cortisol, and epinephrine. There are more, but those are like the big 3. And in low doses, they just sort of sap your energy and they just sort of make you feel negative. What most people don't realize, and it's so funny in this day and age because I always forget that people forget this or don't know this or don't believe it. What most people don't realize or choose to act on is that we can change our state both ways. We can change it from the outside in, meaning start moving, start breathing different, start standing up taller, and that changes our feelings, which changes the chemicals, or we can change the thinking and feeling, and it'll change the physical state. One way or another, you have to learn how to change your state. So that means recognize when you're not feeling great, when you're not at a high vibe, and learn to change it. Taking walks, doing push-ups, singing, listening to music, laughing. Let's see, what else? Reading beautiful poetry, allowing yourself to soak in, Kevy Kev, allowing yourself to soak in beauty, right? And being conscious of it. These things change your emotional state. And you want to be disciplined and sort of have tools at your disposal for changing your emotional state as needed. Hold on, guys, just 1 second. There we go. This is so important because without the ability to master your state, you will be at the whim of whatever feelings and emotions should flow through. With the ability to master your state, not only will you not be at the whim of those things, but something else interesting happens. You tend to raise your default level, your baseline level of vibe. Okay, so we've talked about raising your, like being able to master your state. We've talked about disciplined thought and action. Those two things are directly correlated, by the way. One of the other big pieces of creating success for yourself is learning when and how to simply say no, or to turn it off, or to ignore it, right? Being able, yeah, you finally caught me live, Amy. Being able to, what Stephen Covey called it, I can't remember how he phrased it, but basically being able to make your whims subservient to your goals. One of my mentors, Peter Voog, said that the difference between high achievers and low achievers is high achievers make commitments and promises to themselves and others. Low achievers do things dependent on how they feel, right? So let's use the example of going to the gym. If you're in that low achieving level and vibe, you might say to yourself, well, I don't really feel like going to the gym today. I just had a bad morning, whatever, had that Zoom call that didn't go my way. I just don't feel like it. The high achiever says, it doesn't matter how I feel right now. I told myself I'd do this, right? That's a big difference. It's a huge shift. So I told myself, this is what I said I'd do. I'm doing it. And by the way, there's a huge payoff at the end of it. How many times have you not felt like doing, specifically for me, exercise, and then done it anyway, and then you just felt tremendous at the end of it, right? So you want to get addicted, as Peter says, to the feeling at the other end of the accomplishment, of the follow through, the feeling at the other end of keeping your word to yourself and to others. Okay, so the next fundamental, let's see. So we've talked about disciplined thought and action. We've talked about mastering your state. We've talked about making your feelings and whims. There's an easier way to sum this up, but I'm losing that at the moment. Making your feelings and whims subservient to your goals and desires. Right? Yeah. Absolutely, Joe. We all do, man. Nobody doesn't feel better after they exercise. Like, that's pretty universal. You know what I mean? So sublimating your whims and your emotional states to your commitments, feelings, and desires. That's another huge one. Now, you've heard this other one that I'm about to share with you lots of times, and I'm here to tell you that the reason it's a cliche is because it's true. Ready? Surround yourself with people who challenge you, who are at the levels you want to get to. Do this. Now, this can seem sometimes tricky, sometimes hard. We want to have access to 3 levels of people: peers, people that we inspire, and people that inspire us. That's kind of the ideal. Most of us have peers and or people we inspire. You got to get around people who inspire you. I will tell you, coming from my mastermind last weekend, I learned powerful things. I gained powerful skills. I've been given powerful strategies, but just being in the room with people whose own goals make mine look silly totally raised my vibration. I mean, it really did. It made me see things differently. I want you to really latch on to this. I know it's a cliche, right? It exists all throughout our world, but don't ignore it and don't downplay it. Don't trivialize the power of it. This is so important. Hey, Brandy, thanks for tuning in. I had dinner next to a kid who was 23, making $500,000 a month, and it just blew me away. My goal was $100,000 a month. He, at 23, would consider that a huge problem. So you want to be thinking about, or rather, you want to be surrounding yourself with people who challenge you, who make you want to reach for more. Hey, Julius, Macon, you can actually talk to me about joining my mastermind if you want. I've got room for a couple more in my mastermind, and it is powerful. But no, in the mastermind I joined, there is no room, not until next year. But I'd love to have you talk to me about my own. Might be a great fit for you. Hey, Julius, good to see you. So the feeling of, this is why Bob Proctor said we are the equivalent of our 5 closest friends. And you hear everybody rephrase this because it is true. It works. It's important. It's powerful. It will change your perspective, your perception. So once you have a better perspective and a more powerful perception, and then you have access to people who can help you with the achievement. Okay, Amy, we'll talk about it. Sounds great. When people that can help you with the achievement of these new inspired goals of yours, you're in. Then it's just about going back to the first thing I talked about, disciplined thoughts and actions, right? Once you've got that, that's it. That's the formula right there. There are lots of other little things you do, but that's it. You get inspired, you see what's actually possible, you get the strategies to achieve the goals you set out for yourself, and the support and the energetic vibrational lift, and then you go back to disciplined thought and action. And when the disciplined thought and action becomes hard, you don't worry because you're the master of your state. You are able to change your state so that it serves you at will. Does that make sense? Guys, that's the recipe for achievement right there. It's taken me years to get to this, and I just gave it to you. Years. It's taken me years. And you know what? Just for the purposes of a soundbite, because I'm going to repurpose all this video, let me just restate the whole thing for you. The recipe for achievement and creating what you want in your life is to get around people who make you see a better, bigger, higher vision, who inspire you to take action on that vision, who can provide you or help guide you to the strategies and action steps needed to accomplish that vision. And then you develop your disciplined thought and action so that you are moving forward confidently at all times, and you master your state so that you are not held hostage by your emotions and your whims. You do the things because you know that you want the outcomes. That's it. That's how you do it. And you bolt on one piece at a time. You don't do 50 things at a time, because remember, chaos loves complexity. Success loves simplicity and speed. So, Amy, you and I, we're going to talk about the mastermind. Macon, if you're serious, if you'd really like to discuss a mastermind that will blow up what you're doing now, just take it to the next level, we should definitely talk. Send me a PM. Carlos, what's up, brother? Whoa, we pretty much got royalty on this call right now. At least in my mind, he's royalty. I've been watching Carlos hustle and build for a couple years now. And I got to tell you guys, man, you should follow him. If you don't know who he is, you should check him out. He's an animal. He's a guy who truly has gone from wanting it to getting it, to raising his level, to seeing new things, bigger things that he wants, and going out and getting them. All right. I know, Carlos, you didn't jump on here expecting to be edified like that, but boom, edification for Carlos Redlick. Guys, that's it. Amy, you and I are going to talk. Macon, if you're serious, let's talk. And everybody else, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to prepare for a training I'm doing into Juliet Stapleton's group, where I'm going to blow their minds and show them how to create mad audience growth and monetize it. Okay? Oh, by the way, sorry, I forgot to tell you, if you like this and you're on Facebook, come join my Facebook group, Manny Wolf Group. Easy to find, Manny Wolf Group, Wolf with an E. If you're on YouTube and you're watching this, come over to Facebook. In fact, we'll put a link in the video below so you can go right to Facebook and join my group, the Manny Wolf Group, where you can get more of this, more organic marketing. Thank you, Julius. More personal branding stuff, more money mindset, more success mindset. All of it is inside Manny Wolf Group, where I give you the best of what I got. Okay? All right, you guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Christy. Thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that. I really do.